Alright, so chasing Flytail Lady, that just seems fitting considering.
Yeah, all things considered, right? Ooh, red boomerang.
Alright, you know what? That's actually pretty interesting in its own right. I wonder if this is going to see any use though. That was what, green 3 and maybe crystal 1 at desert?
Green pendant was green pendant is Hera.
Yeah. Do we need to? I think we need to track this ourselves.
I believe Reed is in here doing tracking for us, so we don't have to worry about that as far as I understand.
Excellent. I wasn't sure because I remember just before we went on here that Fiesel was asking if anybody was available, so I didn't catch whether or not that was the thing. So the usual don't forget the chest here. Usual blah blah escape bombs, blah blah blah, the stuff there. There's a piece of heart there. That full magic is really nice to get actually. Because even if you don't get a magic weapon before first crystal, the amount of time that it takes to refill the magic at the end of killing the boss is quite substantial. So it's nice just to have that filled because that saves a lot of time in a sense. Don't know exactly how much time it is, but it's definitely seconds you do not want to waste.
Yeah, that's definitely something I have no idea what you're talking about, 2 seconds, 4 seconds. All I know is that we have boomerang and we're going to use it.
I think it's somewhere in the region of about 3 seconds or so that it takes to fill up the time, 2 to 3 seconds. But even then, every second counts in these things. That sounds cheesy, but it's true at this level. We've seen races decided by like 5 seconds. So
yeah, that's a huge deal. So you are absolutely correct, and especially here in the elimination rounds, where the level of execution is just very much on point.
Interesting. So the green and the blue guards are in the same drop here then, because that full magic. That wasn't what Ben got for killing the blue guard, but it was, Crrool hadn't gotten that from a green one yet, so that is something which isn't the case nowadays. Enemies are randomized as to what prize packs they're in, so it's harder to really determine that, because, it could be that snakes and rats are in the same one, but they don't have to be. Likewise, I guess the guard types here don't. I don't know how that interacts with the 2 different types of green guard, though. I don't know if they count as different enemies.
I haven't a clue. I mean, I haven't studied the mechanics of the drop groups in this one nearly as much as I know Zelda 1. But we do have the interesting differentiation between just swinging your fighter sword or going in...
Oh, I like that! So yesterday, Crrool did 2 pots instead of the pot 4 swings, but using the boomerang to stun him just enough so that he can keep going with the 4 swings, that's really good. And that's exactly the sort of thing that you'd want to use the boomerang for.
Yeah, well, it's like we were talking about before the race started, of interesting items to see in the first chest. Boomerang was is definitely an interesting thing because, as you mentioned, it does give that option of making the ball and chain guard a little less dangerous.
Yeah, it's something that you would pick up in the NMG runs. You pick up the blue boomerang from the chest just before the ball and chain guard, but it's not normally something that you would use even at that point. So, very fun to see it actually having some use here. And I think it's just the red one is a little bit easier to actually use in time, just because of the range of the blue one. Like, the red boomerang travels so much quicker that you can fling it from a further distance away, that it's just more reliable to hit. Whereas the blue boomerang is really short, really slow range, really slow speed. And by the time that you're throwing it, you're probably already in range of the dude. So he's starting to swing, you're risking getting hit. Just doesn't work quite as well.
Yeah, another interesting thing about the boomerangs here, dichotomy, is in Zelda 1, you still have the 2 boomerangs, the wooden one and the magic one. And the wooden boomerang is actually easier to use in Zelda 1 because it only goes half the distance. But here in Link to the Past, it's the red boomerang, or the upgraded version, that's actually easier to use because it's faster and actually has more screen coverage. That's a very interesting dichotomy there.
Yeah, and I mean, most players will say that the red boomerang is pretty useless partly because it lags the game, and partly because the only times you generally use the boomerang are in Ganon's Tower, and in Ganon's Tower the red boomerang's a little bit weird with how it sets up. Like, I've tried to do instead of the Cane Samaria, where you would use the Cane Samaria and the crystal switch hitting stuff left side, I've tried using the magical boomerang there because I wasn't getting the regular one to hit properly, and it just flew through the wall instead. So, you know, not the most reliable of things there. Oh, beautiful pickup of the key there, though. That is something you do in NNG, but it's a lot closer to the actual key there. But the magical boomerang with that distance is really good. The other thing, though, is just like the Cane of Burner, the sparkles that the boomerang causes do kind of lag the game. So if there's significant load on it. Nobody getting bombs here, by the way. If there's significant enemy drops and enemies on the screen or other drops and such, then the red boomerang tends to lag quite a bit. So that's the other reason you don't see it used.
Yeah, but definitely very interesting that we don't have either player with bombs here coming out of Escape. It would have been hilarious, by the way, if the Sanctuary chest was bombs.
Yeah.
So that means we're going to have to come back to the drop to see what's in there potentially. And there are 3 chests there, so more than likely it's definitely a place that they're going to come back to.
And this is why it's always considered in the logic to be locked by power gloves, because you might not get bombs, and even if you do, it's possible just to walk straight past that stuff. You don't have to break it, even though you should, but you don't have to. So it's always required that you have the power gloves first. Blue rupee tier here from the poultry is just the hearts, which is not so good. Bush crabs are not randomized in this version of the logic, so there's no reason to lift it up. You'll just get green off of it. And we see that is a rod there. Is
so
that fire or ice?
That is an ice rod. So
Okay.
if Turtle Rock is a crystal, Aghanim is going to be required here.
Yeah, it seems silly every time. I can't really tell the difference on the streams for them. Oh, it's Crystal 6 was Desert. So green for Tower Hera, green pendant. Crystal 6 at Desert. Crystal 3 is Eastern. But yeah, with the only differentiation between fire and ice rod, of course there's bombs where the mushroom would be. The only differentiation is that really tip, whether it's blue or red, and because of the restream stuff that we watch, I have a hard time telling that apart, to be honest with you. It tends to blend in a little bit, but you guys will see it way clearer than me, so.
Yeah, but no, that's perfectly understandable. But it is nice to see that we have an Aghanim. Oh, look at that!
Green pull tier is bombs. Lots of them too, by the looks of it. That was what, 4 bombs each? Or was
that was 16 bombs from that pull. So all the explosives.
Interesting that Crrool did not pull that one. Did he pull the first one?
He did pull the hearts, yes.
Okay, so interesting that you wouldn't pull that one, because you basically have to kill an enemy going down unless you want to take damage off the Crrool. It will hit you when you're going down there, so you always have that one kill that you need to get the green tier. You may as well just check it on the way out, unless you are completely filled on arrows, magic, and bombs, and you don't have the chance of having 80 rupees off it. Then oh, red shield, okay, and the power glove.
There we go. So we can go
stuff.
Immediately back to Escape and get the 3 chests down there. And I find that interesting because this is not the tiered logic. So getting power gloves before Titansmith is really fun.
Yeah. So I've kind of gone against progressive gloves sometimes because I don't like the fact of, since you have to get both of them to clear the game, it's unlike any other progressive item that you only have to get one of them. Even the sword, because Master Sword is possible. Just annoying against Ganon. But every other progressive thing, you only need the one. I'm done. There's butter already. We're out.
All right, mic drop. See you guys in 2 hours.
Alright, so in the new logic, that would be a Master Sword because progressives. But hey, we have butter here. I feel like that's going to favor Ben a lot more than Crrool, though. And I know, the execution-wise, you would think, oh, it's going to favor Crrool more because Ben can do the bosses really well anyway. But at the same time, Ben's movement is really good. I mean, you can see the difference here already. Not that Crrool is terrible, but Ben plays NMG. He knows a lot of the stuff here already. And I've had this happen where you don't get the chicken clip properly, and it just gets in the way. So annoying. But yeah, being able to just insta-kill everything is going to be an advantage to the player who moves better, I feel. And yeah, having this early of a butter, you know that isn't going to be missed. And I feel like that gives Ben a slight advantage.
Oh, I would 100% agree with you because, in a case where all things are being equal, in this case they are so far, the person who can execute better is definitely going to have the advantage. Now, if the butter sword was in a place that, Crrool checked and Ben didn't, it would be a completely different story. But, right now, having all things equal, the person who has more experience in doing execution things without being able to use, like the gold sword in that situation, definitely going to favor them. And we have a heart piece there in the race, so not going to be doing that.
So, I mean, you could say, yeah, that everything technically favors the better player, but not necessarily. Like, having boots late favors I would say would favor the player that doesn't do NMG, right? Because the boots have, the time difference you would save between having them and not having them is probably more significant for a player who can better utilize them. So if they are late into the seed, then that would be an advantage to the player.
Right, and especially to continue on with that point, as we see Crrool picking up the 3 chests in Escape, but the boots are obviously the boomerang. Boots are also going to favor people potentially who know how to hover. And,
yes.
Having late boots is going to negate that ability for people to hover. So that could definitely be something. Like, I know we've seen a race, I think it was Andy, who got the big key on the bridge in Mire and then hovered across. Without boots, you can't do that. You still have to take the long way around. So that's an advantage of having boots.
So, yeah, there was nothing really good in Escape, but Ben's probably still going to have to go back and get that later. Notice that Crrool is out of bombs here. And that's because he didn't pull the tree with the green tiers. So that is changing the way that he's going here because he can't do Southside. And there we go. Okay, so it was 32 bombs, I think. That's pretty good. Yeah, so it kind of changes the way. Maybe he doesn't know that the poultry Lost Woods is there. That's not really too common unless you do NMG, because that's where you get the rupees to pay Kiki. But yeah, maybe he just doesn't know with that one, so just checking the one he does. Good that he did refill the bombs, though, before going Southside, because you wouldn't be able to do Mini Moldon Cave. Not that it had anything good, but it usually does. So.
Yep, but yeah, I do like the route variation here, so Crrool not having bombs, going up to Death Mountain and saying, hey, Vanilla Mirror! Vanilla Mirror!
Is this even randomized?
But that is huge because that is going to allow him to, if he wants to explore Tower of Hera. Yes, Hera's a green pendant, but usually, unless there's something required in the basement, you can do Hera really quickly.
And he hasn't done Shahabadu yet, or Sasha, if you do want the shorthand. Hasn't done Sahasrara,
if you want the proper name.
If you want the boring name, it's Sahasrara. But yeah, he hasn't actually done that yet. So if he could get this green pendant here, oh no, don't save it, quit. If you could get the green pendant here, that would be a big difference. Shovel. What does he even use a shovel for there? I mean, maybe dig out his fire, I guess? I mean, Shovel Knight, so...
No, he used the shovel to bash the fish over the head so he can cook them.
Right, okay. That makes total sense. Yeah, so Crrool is going to check Eastern stuff without checking if he could do Tower of Hera. I don't know, I feel like Tower of Hera, this sort of plays into what Christo said at one of his interview stuff, of his plays at the moment tend to be trying to do what is quick to do, or quick to check, not necessarily what is the densest, location. Because, say, as a good example would be doing Skull Woods instead of Swamp Palace, if you've got the capability of doing both, because Skull Woods takes much less time than Swamp Palace to go through. That's the lamp, by the way.
And Quarter
Magic. Yo, that's pretty good. Alright, maybe now he goes back up. But you see, the problem is now, assuming that you are able to finish Tower of Hera, he's got to do Southside first, okay. Assuming that you're able to do Tower of Hera, you now have to go back again if you want to check the green pendant. That's
and the other thing
what I
that
would want.
I mean, I know it's more prevalent in new logic, but this is the way any randomizer I play that is sort of item sequenced. One of the things that I tend to follow is if the game's going to give you certain items, it's going to lead you in a certain direction. So why not tell you what the game's doing? The game handed you mirror at the place where it normally hands you mirror. So that's telling you, hey, you're up here. Go do Tower of Hera. Yeah, it might not lead to anything, but that's sort of what the game is telling you. So why not take that? It's not like you're gambling on a green pendant Ice Palace or a green pendant Turtle Rock. It's long and arduous. It's Tower of Hera. It takes 5 minutes.
Right. And, well, we did get to see the nice mirror trick there, though. That's something obviously Ben could not do. You can use the mirror in caves where it wouldn't normally work. You can make it despawn push blocks. Like, you can use items through push blocks anyway. It's usually used with the hook shot to go through them, or in Misery Maya, the fire rod is useful there, so you can push the blocks in the Wizrobe torch puzzle thing, and you can fire rod through them. But in that particular place in the dam, you can use it to despawn the block and then get both chests, both items in one trip rather than two. Nice red rupees that just would take menu time to pick up, Yeah,
but the interesting thing here for Crrool is he now has the capability of going to do Zora. He does have the over 500 rupees needed for that.
Right, and even though you would Fate Flipper to get to it from here, the Power Glove means that it is in play, just not the ledge item yet. So that could be an interesting play. So Ben's picked up his mirrors, gotta check what is at the top here. I imagine Ben is probably going to do Tower of Hera, because it's very possible that something like the hammer is there, and you would be able to go to the other side of that mountain from that. Or the hook shot, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely an option here. I would definitely be doing, again, as I said, it looks like he's setting up the mirror, so Ben's absolutely going right into Tower of Hera.
Now, he did do Sahashala before coming here, so both of them are going to have to make that double trip thing, but I feel like it's a bit less punishing in Ben's situation because he hadn't already gone up the mountain first. So he's only effectively making two trips, well, one trip up the mountain and then the two to Sahashala, whereas Crrool's got to do two of each. And it does take quite a while to get back up to Tower of Hera, especially when you're... Yeah, Fate Flippers is not too bad to do. You just need to stand one pixel away. Oh, you would have been able to do it too, because Big Key is there. You have to stand 1 pixel away from the screen transition and then jump into the water and hold the direction of the screen transition. And then you are swimming in the next screen. It's actually not that difficult to do at all. It's possible to set it up with the bush on the left-hand side, but I'm terrible with that, so I just eyeball it. If you stand in between the two leaf patterns on the ground on the right-hand side, you can generally get the pixel you need.
And just remember, Fake Flippers is a Japanese 1.0 exclusive glitch.
It's also a sequence break as far as the logic goes, because the logic is no glitches. So if you do that and you get an item off of that, then you need to be careful not to stray too far away from the logic path in this case. So it looks like Ben is just going to go up and around here rather than going for the bomb jump. I don't blame him because, I mean, I haven't tried this one. You have to be within 2 pixels of the gap without the... nice bow! And
so terror required.
If Crrool had done this, this is hindsight obviously, but if Crrool had done this, he would have had the bow and he could have done Easton at the same time as turning in the green pendant. Yeah,
so Tower of Hera turning out to be, claiming yet another victim here. I'll just call it that way.
Yeah, but anyway, as I was saying, with the bomb jump there, you've got to be within 2 pixels of the gap instead of 6 when you don't have the Pegasus boots. And I don't...
Moldorm just being like... Moldorm going all Dikembe Matumbo on Ben saying, no, no, no.
So, yeah, with the bomb jump there, if you don't get it, you're falling 2 floors. And that is very, very punishing. So I don't blame Ben for not going for it. Even though you would, you'd say you'd expect him to do it, but in NMG you would have the Pegasus boots, so you absolutely wouldn't have to do it the same way. So I didn't get to see. Wait, he got the map out the first chest, and then I saw the compass
second
come
item's
up
in the
as
basement
well.
because Moldorm had the key.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe this. If there's something good there, then I know Crrool's going to check it anyway. But if there's something good there, then that sort of validates Crrool's play a little bit more. But even then, you would still want to check it before going in. But you know, this would end up being a loose square that you would have to remember. So it's one of those cases, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? If he'd have checked this before, he'd have gotten the bow, but he'd have been missing an item in the basement. If that item turns out to be necessary, he'd have had to come back up, and that would have been a big time sink. Probably wouldn't have done that before every other option was exhausted. And the way that he's done it, he's going to have to make 2 trips to Shahabadu, but is going to get both items out of here, so...
Yeah, so it's one of those things where depending on what the item in the basement is will determine whether or not I don't want to say correct or incorrect decision was made, but it's more along the lines of if the correct gamble was made.
Yes. That's an important distinction, and I like, just as a quick aside there, Ben killing the last tile before it starts, you know, when it starts moving to you. The door will open as soon as the final tile disappears. This is just rupees. This is also something in the tile room of Ganna's tower with the wall master that tries to take you away. If you can hit that last tile before it would actually get over to the other side, the door opens quicker, or in GT's case, the chest comes out quicker. And that just saves a tiny bit of time instead of just waiting. So, kind of neat. You know, usually it's the fire rod that you'd like to do that with, just because it's a range projectile. You know, you don't always have the master sword, and fire rod is what you need to light the torches, so you'd like that. But sword beams work pretty well.
Yep, so we do have Ben going back down into the basement, just getting a bunch of rupees and the bloomerang. Nothing too crazy, but now at this point, logic's telling us we've got one place to go, so let's go to Eastern.
Was that bingo? No, not quite bingo, guys. I was going to say, I think he paused at 888 rupees there, but he still had some more to pick up, so... that would have been quite fun. So sadly, Crrool took a couple of hits in this room before getting to the point where you would actually be able to hit the crystal switch, so no chance for him to do the same trick. You could still lay a bomb there. Yeah, the boomerang would be okay, but you... Yeah, actually, yeah, because that kills the tiles, so he could have done the same thing. Would the magical boomerang hit the crystal switch from the other side of the room? Pretty sure it does, right?
Ooh, mushroom! Wow!
Would you like to see some fetch quests?
Doesn't have to be a fetch quest. What?
Boy.
If you're gonna lay frozen on the table for me, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we're at, so it's fine. So yeah, with the bow in tow, Eastern Palace is now very possible. So this is nice. I like the progression of this seat here. I mean, Eastern Palace, with the exception of if an item's at Amos, because it's locked here by the bow, of course. Eastern Palace is not as lucrative in this version of the logic as it has been, you know, since the item fill setup was changed. But it is something you need to do anyway, and you're looking for the Moon Pearl and or the hammer in order to get much further in. And yeah, it's good. Yeah, don't forget to do Tahashrala here, because it is very easy to forget to do it when you leave the dungeon. So best just to do it whilst you're thinking about it. But yeah, the dungeon is required. There are 3 items in here. Amos, if they have an item, has a higher chance of having something useful just because it's locked behind something else, I think. That's generally how it works in this version of the logic.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about this here is after Eastern, there's very few places left, assuming Eastern doesn't have the Moon Pearl, that we can check. There is Zora, then Aghanim, and we didn't get a chance to see in the Dark World. No one checked to see if Turtle Rock was required. So
right, yeah.
Aghanim, there is there's 7 crystals in the Dark World. There's a 5 in 7 chance, or no, 2 crystals. So yeah, there's a 5 in 7 chance that Aghanim's going to be required here.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty reasonable. Yeah, the only other location outside of Zora is Agina's cave.
Oh, and Ice Rod Cave, yeah.
Oh yeah, neither of them Ice Rod Cave. Okay, I suppose that's just a. Oh, well, we can go beat Aghanim now.
Aghanim's required. We got the bug
net. Always fun that we just both latch onto that straight away.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, that's the thing that could happen. Oh, it's just funny seeing some of the things that you come up with, whether it's in your own chats or whether it's in the chat here. You know, the memes, if you will. Some of them are pretty funny, and
yeah, some of them like the bug net, swag duck, which we need some flute because we need some swag duck here.
This is true. And you know that if Ben gets the flute first, that he's going to be using it on his side, like even when it's not usable, because he does that with the book all the time as well. Every time I've had his audio on for the, my side for the commentary here, he's always just been using the book every time, regardless. Just that buzz all the time. Yep.
Yeah, always fun there.
So with as much money as they have in this seed, there's no reason to ever get any more, so there's not going to be any funky plays this way, like the right side of Easton there, or Chris Houlihan room later. Nothing like that needs to come up here. I can't remember exactly how much. I think it is... Let me see, 500 for Zora, 110 for Kiki, assuming you don't get hit. 100 for the Super Bomb if you need that. And then 110 for the stuff in Village of Outcasts. That's pretty much all the money you really need in the run.
And don't forget the 100 for the bottle vendor.
And the bottle vendor, right. So, yeah, both of them have got that covered. And obviously that doesn't include potions, but that's extra stuff you buy.
Yeah, we're talking required money, not money you want. Oh, 50 rupees. So yeah, Eastern Palace has a crystal, always fun, but no moon pearl. So again, our locations are being very limited. Agina's Cave, Zora, Aghanim. However, if Agina's Cave or Zora give us the flute or the book, that opens Desert Palace as an option for the moon pearl. And we don't have a bottle either, so Sick Kid is also in play.
Do you think either of them are going to turn in that mushroom anytime soon?
Ooh, that's also a good point. I think... I mean, depending on what your play is.
Yeah, that's he's killed it that way. Ben is going to do that. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, it depends on what your routing plan is. If you're planning on just doing a bunch of routing, now he's probably hitting the button for the mushroom signs right now.
Yep, he is. I'll tell you that right now, he is.
Yeah, but I thought my thought would be you either do Aghanim first, or you do exactly what Ben's doing and do mushroom into Zora.
Yeah. It's just good fun, you know. You don't need to do the stuff that way, but it's like when I have the flute and the Pegasus boots. Even if I don't need to, I always just alternate between the two so I can get as many flute sounds coming up as I can off of it.
Oh yeah, before the hook shot. That opens up Death Mountain.
The mushroom was on Death Mountain. Was the mushroom on Death Mountain?
Mushroom, no, well, kind of, because it was Hera for Green Pendant to Hasrala for Mushroom to Witch the hook shot. Now to Eastern. This is one of those. This is what you wanted. It's back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. That's not bad. But that opens up the most lucrative spot, I think, in the entire thing.
7-item cave.
Maybe next to Hype Cave is the most lucrative spot coming here, is East Side Death Mountain. Yeah, there are 8 items over there in total, and because it's locked by a couple of things, it is very likely that something's up there. Luckily, just a heart piece on the side here. So where is Crrool gonna go?
Not sure.
Alright, it looks like he's going to be doing the same sort of thing, just taking a different save quit point. Pretty sure the one Ben did was a little bit quicker, but it's not going to be that big of a difference. And really, this one probably would have been faster if you could dash. But no Pegasus boots yet, so... Oh, just double love in the Domain of Zora today. Not particularly great. But the hookshot from the witches kind of makes up for that.
Yeah, a little bit. But Zora's just, in the same musical mood as we are. Zora just wanted to put a little love in your heart, that's all.
Aww. Yeah. All right.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Link to the Past Randomizer, the musical edition.
There we go. Hookshot for Crrool as well. This is an interesting seed so far. Like, we're half an hour in, and it doesn't feel like that, but there has been significant progress made. Even if it's only one crystal that's been collected, there's been 2 dungeons cleared, and both of them have been very important. So, very interesting setup so far. Ben went in the wrong side. That is the Dark World that you go in that side for. Funnily enough, though, if you do have the hookshot, you can actually get some fairies on the other side there.
Putting the mirror to good use there is Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this if you can do this with the Dark World one as well. Oh, there's the flippers. And the hammer! Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. So
Hammer
just the Moon Pearl, and that is it. And Dark World is opened up with no Aga required.
Yeah, Aga still might be required.
That's interesting.
Because of Ice Rod.
There's the Pegasus boots. Oh yeah, the Ice Rod, that's true. There's the Titan's Mint. And
there's the Moon Pearl. Wow, 7-item cave. All the hype here today. Hammer, boots, Moon Pearl, Titan's Mint. Wow.
And this is excellent reading from Ben too. He's not going to bother doing the bomb jump here because when you go through the dark side of the Death Mountain here, you're going to end up at the top anyway. So once you're done with Hookshot Cave, you just mirror on out and you go do Spiral Cave there. Oh,
Aghanim not required. Ice Rod is not required unless it's a pedestal seed. Turtle Rock's the blue pendant.
Yeah, this isn't new logic, so there's almost definitely not going to be in Turtle Rock at this stage. If this was new logic, it would be very possible that Turtle Rock would have something like Flute and Aghanim to get the Ice Rod for it. Maybe, Usually it's on the Eye Bridge if something stupid happens that way. But yeah, this is the old logic. Before the really crazy stuff could happen. And there we go, validation arrow. Pay you $20 for that validation. Like,
yeah, but what's the exchange rate from pounds to dollars?
I mean, does that actually matter? Because we're talking rupees here.
You said you'd pay me $20. I was just asking.
Alright, just a hot container on the floating island, so nothing too crazy up there. That's fine. Crrool is about to get his jackpot here as well. I like the use of the hookshot there, unfortunately forgetting that he's got sword beams. But never mind, that's fine. It's kind of weird actually, because you wouldn't expect sword beams to go over the thing there. Because you'd expect it just to hit the wall.
Yeah, you don't expect most things to go over that, though.
Oh, nothing at all in Hookshot Cave. How disappointing.
Yeah, but
so Crrool is going to do this anyway? I guess maybe he just wanted to, vindicate it after last time because he missed that before. And it's just like, right, I want to get this time because this cost me a lot of time last time.
Sweet vindication.
$1 is 64.26 rupees. Okay. So, both players in the Spiral Cave here. We'll see if this yields anything. Nope, just pieces of heart. That little bit of love. But you know what now? There is a wide open Dark World to go to. Where do you go first?
Well, assuming it's a crystal dungeon, the easiest one to do in the Dark World is Thieves' Town. The most lucrative dungeon in the Dark World is Swamp Palace.
I mean, Swamp Palace is good because you've got Hype Cave as well, which gives you a bunch more items to check here. So that might be Ben's play. I don't think we've seen the extent of the map. It was just a brief setting for it, so I don't.
We got a brief point. I was focusing on Turtle Rock because I wanted to know about Aghanim. So, yeah.
I mean, it looks like the
wow. Is this explosive cave?
I'll try it. Oh man, that is not a cave in the slightest. So it looks like we, according to the tracker stuff here, we have open. So Swamp Palace actually is a crystal. So there'd be reason that you could do it just now. Palace of Darkness is also a crystal that is clearable.
Yeah, basically at this point, taking a look at the dungeons, the only two that aren't clearable right now, or the only three that aren't clearable, we have no way of getting into Desert. We have no way of getting into Misery Mire, and we have no way of getting into Skull Woods.
So we're looking at Fire Rod, a medallion for... Oh, a nice fairy bottle. Oh, that's actually pretty good because that opens up Sick Kid. I'm very glad that nobody did Dagger then, because that could have led you on a false pathway for quite a while. Yeah, so we're looking for Flute, we're looking for Fire Rod, we're looking for one medallion, don't know which one yet, and we are looking for the Cane of Samaria. Those are the 4 required items here. We won't know which medallion it is that we require until the flute is obtained, because we can't get to Misery Mire without that. Well, in this rule set, you can do it with major glitches, but we're not clipping for this.
Alright, so we've got Catfish being checked as well as King's Tomb here.
Catfish yielding the nothing. Well, I say we're not doing clipping in here because that's what the chat's for, right? Chats handle the clip.
Yeah, absolutely.
They handle all the clips.
That's what chat is for, absolutely. Now, for those of you talking about the possibilities of what can be on the pedestal. So Fire Rod can't be on the pedestal, neither can Cane of Samaria. The medallion for Misery Mire can very much be on the pedestal, as long as it is not the same as the medallion for Turtle Rock, and as long as it's not the Ether medallion, because Crrool just picked that up as well.
Oh, nice.
The flute technically can be on the pedestal.
Yeah, we could have the duck call on the pedestal here.
And in theory, the book can also be on the pedestal if the flute is inside Desert Palace.
Theoretically, yes, but this version of the logic does not allow the book to be there.
Oh, no paradox?
No, not in this version. It is nowadays. Like, if this was a new version seed, that would be possible. But, oh, there's Cane of Samaria.
Well, there we go.
3 items remain. No, Flute is not required for Thieves Town. Flute is required for Misery Mire. And Fansevere has definitely left his mark on the chat here. That's
doing old school WWF with Kane references.
Yeah. Be proud, man. That is you've left your mark on the tournament here.
That's gotta be Kane!
There we go. Hi. I was hoping that was just because you could technically commentators can jump in at any point if they want to. They wouldn't normally, but in this case, it's gotta happen.
That was acceptable. And then we have Froggy, not necessarily Froggy World Pool. Hey, there's the book in Thieves Town. I didn't realize, Bandits read, but hey, Bandits can read apparently. So now Desert's on the table for Crrool, and we're having the Frog Dash.
This is really good for Crrool actually, because he hasn't checked all of the South stuff yet. So it's very possible that he could do Purple Chest here, and then take it all the way around. Oh, nice red mail, okay. He could do the Purple Chest, and then go to Bombos afterwards, and check all of the stuff at the South at the same time.
I'm not gonna lie though, I'm a little disappointed. I still wanted the banana hat.
Yeah, it's a shame. We might still get it if Thieves Town has blue mail. Won't be for very long, but we could still get it. Oh, counterfeit arrows. So I always just kind of made the joke with that because they are cheapskates and stuff. You only pay 10 rupees and stuff. I think the first time that I since swords got added to the randomizer pool, the very first time that I did the blacksmiths there, they gave me a single rupee. So from then on, whatever they give me, it's counterfeit something, because they charged me 10 rupees and they gave me just a green one back. Like they created that green rupee out of their own working setup there. It's kind of like minting cents and whatnot, or minting pennies. That it takes more to actually do that than it does what they're worth. And it's just every time now, whatever it is that they have. Speaking of money, there's some more of it there if you want. But just I don't know.
I think someone's been hurt by a counterfeit scheme at some point in their life. That's what this is telling me about.
No, see, no, but the only thing I have that way is every so often when I get change, over here, I end up getting a cent instead of a penny out of this stuff. Like if I'm supposed to get 54p or whatever back, then I sometimes end up getting single cents, and it's like, why? Like these are like legit American cents. Like, one, why? Two, how on earth did that get into your cashier? Over here. It just doesn't make sense.
Just blame TGE, you'll be fine.
Fair enough. Yeah, he could. Well, actually, no. Depending on what ails him, he might still. Wasn't that just 100 or was it 300?
No, it was 300.
All right, yeah, he could afford. He has no excuse for being sick.
Well,
I mean, the blue potion is literally called the cure-all medicine. He has no excuse to be sick. He could afford that medicine.
True, but I mean, I don't want to get into too much of a discussion here, but we make the joke about the witch and the drugs and the mushroom and selling that. So I'm just gonna leave you guys for where I'm going with this, and I'm not gonna actually just go fully. But we are doing a blind run of this game apparently over there in the boss fight.
I mean, we are blinding him with the light of the sword beam. Does that count?
The light.
Oh dear. This fight gets hectic pretty quickly. You don't kill it off, but good job. Oh, there is the entire funding of Blind Corporation. The Corporation of Thieves just has a single rupee to its name.
And this is why the Aladdin sequel and the Prince of Thieves sucked.
Oh, man. Oh, right, yeah, they told him it was a red one because he's colorblind. That's right. Good. Nice one.
Don't feed the trolls.
That's actually really good. I like
It
that.
really is.
Well, you guys knew what you signed up for here. That's all I can say.
Pretty much, yeah. Froggy going to court now over on Crrool's side.
Looks like Crrool is going to do this before doing the digging game, though. Unless I'm mistaken, and he's already done the south stuff.
I think it was just Ben who did it, but digging game was only a heart container, so...
Yeah, so it's not too bad if you can't do it just now, but it is going to generate a loose square. Which normally when, I can't remember who it was that coined that term for it first, but basically when we refer to loose squares here, we're referring to single locations that, you only have one item to get there now. For example, catfish, when you've done everything around it. And usually they take quite a long time to get back to, and it becomes a guessing game of, oh, is it really worth it to go back here now because it's just one item and I'm really struggling to find this last thing? With the flute just now, that kind of exacerbates the issue a little bit because you can't fast travel to places. So yeah, that can definitely be an issue here. You know what? I was saying about the whole counterfeit arrow thing here, but that is actually a pretty good deal when you remember the Capitalism Fairy charges you 100 rupees for that. I suppose she does refill your arrows as well, but, you know, Venus the Fairy, basically Ice Palace in the Light World, she requires 100 rupees before she'll give you that capacity upgrade, so maybe it's not such a bad deal getting that for just 10.
No, and those are handmade, hand-fletched arrows, so, you know, they gotta be higher quality, right?
Well, I mean, the only problem with that is that they're kind of fake arrows because your capacity upgrades don't actually increase you have on you at the time. They just increase how many you can hold. So I guess they might be crafting you a quiver of sorts. That could be an excuse for it. Oh, are we going to see Ben go up into Skull Woods here? Interesting.
Very interesting. I mean, you have access to everything but Mothula Hall. So it's entirely, you know, possible that there, you know, Fire Rod could be in here.
Can we delete those skull guys from the game, by the way? They always show up at the worst of times.
No, because it's trolling, and I like trolling.
Fair enough.
Also, shoutouts to Ben and 888 rupees.
Not sponsored by betting companies? What are you talking about?
No, we're sponsored by Bananas, of course.
Yep.
So, and I've been looking for banana emotes, so I may have to go and acquire those at some point.
So
also, we're getting the Purple Chest World Tour here.
Yeah, interesting that you would go to Hype Cave with this when, yeah, you'd be able to dash here otherwise. I don't know. Kind of interesting. Everybody has their own different for it. Getting speared, unfortunately, so hailing is a bad thing. And yeah, you still can't take the chest in there, even if it is Hype Cave. You still can't. The chest cannot witness the hype.
But the chest is like, don't worry, that cave ain't so much hype. Me, I'm gonna be hype. You wait.
You want to see the flute in that purple chest now? Actually, that actually happened to me in one of my races.
Yep,
That's
flute
pretty
would
fun.
be really good in that one. As Ben's gonna be picking up the Ether Medallion here in a second.
Yeah, and see, this is why I'm not so sold on the way round that Crrool did this, because now he's got to walk all the way around here, whereas he could have been dashing this. But maybe he's going to do Desert Palace straight up after this, because he does have the resources to do it, with that book in tow. So he could just be jumping off the ledge afterwards and do it. Gotta make sure in this version, though, that you're not doing that too early, because it's possible to get yourself stuck in the wall with the bomber stuff here. That's been changed nowadays, but it's a possibility in this version. Oh my goodness!
Powder! Wow.
And then that leads to the flute?
Yeah. Are we gonna sing again? Ooh, yeah.
Whoa!
Ben's like, hi Cape, bye Cape.
I mean, he's checked the Cape Cave and it was 20 rupees, like the bumper cave, so he knows he doesn't need it for that. Just interesting and unfortunate for a tracker here. It's going, oh, he's gonna have the cave, and then he just walked past it like, wait, no, never mind, unclick. Unfortunate for that.
Yeah, Crrool going into the desert.
So, alright, maybe not so bad on he's played Madness then. It's just, I just like the fact of you could ditch the chest and then dash to get the stuff. But, you know, again, it's one of those 6 of one, half a dozen of the things, right? Both plays are completely, and it's not as if it's changing how many things he's getting, it's just the ordering is sometimes important with these things. I think we said before, a lot of this is rooting, but execution is still there, and the execution will make or break your time, you know?
Yeah, but it is interesting to see the cape being left there because, let's say, for example, Spike Cave has something.
Yeah, he has a fairy, so he's okay with that. The fairy gives a lot of iframes when you fall on your face, so you can do Spike Cave with 7 hearts and a fairy in a bottle. That's the sort of minimum you could do it with. I've done that in 1 or 2 of my seeds before, so long as he doesn't lose that fairy, then Spike Cave is not a problem. Nice to see both players in the same dungeon.
I was just about to make the comment.
Well, sorry for cutting you off on that one then.
No, that's fine. See, I'm just a little upset that this is the last of the Light World dungeons they did instead of the first one, because I wanted to make a comment about eating desert first.
Oh, nice. Alright, I will say that was pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the other thing, like the cape, if they don't find...
Oh, Fire Rod!
Nice! Both picking it up at pretty much the same time, too. Fire Rod is a super good...
Burning in sync.
Yeah!
Not to be confused with
melting,
98 degrees in in sync.
melting sands.
Ooh, nice.
So, it's no sand rod, but it's about as close as this game is gonna get. We're not linked between worlds here, so... That was such an interesting item there, actually, to make it different from what, you know, the Desert Maya sort of thing was here. To make a difference in just having, you know, an item that lets... Especially the way that game did the paint mechanics, just having an item that generated pillars that you could stand on or use to you know, go around the room it's really neat. It's not something you'd have been able to do on the SNES, I don't think, though. So it's just nice when you're doing a reimagining of a game to actually have that sort of difference in there. The Tornado Rod as well, actually. Although that's super broken if you see speedruns of that game.
Oh yeah, speedruns of A Link Between Worlds is fascinating to watch.
So yeah, with that Fire Rod in tow, I imagine both players are going to be doing Skull Woods very soon, because as outside of a chance as it is, there are still items which could be locked in the pedestal here. So...
Misery Meyer's Medallion and the Flute are the two options.
Yes. So I would expect both players are going to check that soon.
I mean, absolutely, it makes sense. You're basically, you can go ahead, get to Kakariko, do the warp, go into Skull Woods, finish Skull Woods, check the pedestal, and from there, I mean, you still have Palace of Darkness and Swamp Palace to do as well.
Yep. But Skull Woods is the quickest of them, so this again following the logic of potentially do what is quick, not what is densest in items, especially when it comes to Swamp. Oh, very nice. The Gold Sword does as much damage as the Fire Rod to these guys, so being able to just one cycle with that is really good. It's possible to one cycle with just a Fire Rod. I actually did that in my race that I was doing before the commentary here, but it's really tough to do because you've got to get the 2 hits. They might not actually stay up long enough to get the 2 hits, and yeah, getting in on all 3 of them is not easy. But Ben makes it look super easy, kind of helped out by the sword a little bit. Then again, that with the recoil, that might make it worse.
Oh yeah, no, I was always, as a kid, I always used Ice Rod on the land molas.
Yeah, see, Ice Rod is really fun. It's just the problem is it's a little bit of a slow projectile, so it's harder to hit with than the Fire Rod. At least I find it is.
Yeah, maybe but it's all about having fun. You know, that's the whole point of playing games in Randomizer. It's all about having fun and doing things crazy.
It is something I want to practice at some point, actually, because I've only ever had one circumstance where I could have used the Ice Rod for it, but it is something that can happen if you get Ice Rod early and you need to do Desert to get something. You may well find that the Ice Rod is the best weapon you've got there. And looks like, just as I was saying, both players are going to be doing Skull Woods here. I like this. I think this is the best play that you could do at the moment.
Yeah, and then for Crrool, the interesting option is you do Skull Woods, then you go ahead and check the pedestal. But then at that point, he has the powder. Does he go back and do Magic Bat, or does he leave it as a loose square?
This is interesting. So Crrool, I can't remember who else has done this. I know this is not like remove from game. Stupid skulls. I know Crrool is not the first one to do this. I forget who else did, but the logic here of just checking the very end of the dungeon first and then coming back, I think it was Jacopa that was telling me that he does this sometimes. And I definitely get the logic. If, say, the big key is at Morphula, then you're going to have to come back through the rest of the dungeon anyway. So may as well do this bit first. Willard and Christos do it. Okay. EOD text as well. Yeah, it's not a unheard of strategy, but it's not the most common one that you see. So it's still interesting to see employing this here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a fascinating thing, and that's one of the cool things about watching randomizers is you can see money and bunny. I was gonna say you can see many different versions of routing, and I got excited because we got a bunny sighting.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It's like then there's a lot of items that you wouldn't be able to use in dungeons in vanilla that you can do some super good stuff with. Mostly hookshot, Cane of Samaria, and a certain place like Cane of Samaria here. Ben did it just now, where you get the big key you get to the big key chest without pushing the statue, and that is really, really fun. It's not something you'd do in vanilla. You could, but that would that would be stupid.
Well, there's your routing talking about paying off. There is the big key from Mafia.
Yeah, so there you go. The prophecy has been foretold. So, yeah, good stuff. Oh, how did that fire rod hit off there? That was crazy. Very, very good fight from Ben.
Don't question fire rod logic.
Oh, I have had some weird things happen with a fire rod before. Like I have killed Gibdos off screen with the fire rod in ways that should not ever happen. It's like the Haunted game sort of stuff. It just why?
Alright, both of our runners going back in to check the single chest here in Mothula Hall.
So that's an interesting thing. So nice quake.
There's
Alright,
quake.
so there's no need to worry about what Turtle Rock requires if the pedestal has something. So yeah, both players have gone upstairs here. The interesting thing, there's a way of setting this up. If you have the Pegasus boots, then you just walk into basically underneath the bridge bit there and dash down, and you can have it set. Just more storage.
Bugger.
To be fair, there wasn't a whole lot that could have been there, but even so, it's still. Wait, Crrool just left. Didn't get both items.
He got Quake.
Oh, I hope that doesn't bite him.
We know it's not going to because Ben's got everything else from Skull Woods. So.
Okay, fair enough. But Crrool doesn't know that, so he might end up having to think. I know Ben hasn't got both items.
Oh no, it's the big key.
Yeah, Ben got Quake and the map off of the chest above him there, where the big key would normally be. So, and neither player went into the first half. So this could still
Well, no,
be
Ben went in the
painful.
first half earlier. He explored the first couple
Did
sections. When he first went in. So I think he got the compass out of the chest that generates holes in the
he
ground.
did. Yeah, because he's got the door open now. Oops.
Whoopsie.
Oh well, I guess I'm mistaken. Luckily for Crrool, it's not going to be out for Ben here. But still, not something I would like to leave on the board at this stage. But
No,
that's
definitely
me,
not.
you know. There is also the thing of playing to who you're against here, and if you know that your opponent is generally faster when it comes to execution stuff, then you kind of have to take that into account. Like if you just play your normal game and the opponent plays the same game as you, like the safe game, and they have better execution, you aren't going to win that fight. Race even, but same thing, right? It's a contest.
But the thing you have to keep in mind there, though, is taking some gambles is fine, but don't adjust your entire way you play based on who you're playing, because you play a certain way because you're comfortable playing a certain way. Don't completely reimagine that just because you're playing against somebody who has better execution.
Yeah,
And it's a fine balance between the two.
Yeah. In that sense, it really depends on how safe your normal game is, if you will. Like, if you aren't normally one to take a bunch of risks, then, that is more... You might want to end up taking a couple just so that you might be able to pull something out. But if you normally take a ton of gambles, well, don't change what you do.
Exactly. I play a lot of Zelda 1 Randomizer, and I 100%, I am full-on riverboat gambler when it comes to playing that game.
I feel like you have to be in that. Like, I don't really know a whole lot about the Zelda 1 stuff because, to be honest, it feels a bit overwhelming. Say, I think I'd be the same with this game if I saw like the Chaos Siege, right? Those if I hadn't already been playing this, like all your entrance shuffle, enemy shuffle, stuff like that. I think that would be pretty overwhelming as well. And I think for Zelda, the Zelda 1, there's so many more things that you can add to that.
It is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. The biggest thing with Riverboat Gambling in that is basically, oh hey, because it's a cave shuffle randomizer as well, so all the entrances are shuffled. So you can find an early dungeon and be like, yeah, I've got no weapon, no bombs, no candle, no nothing. Let's go exploring anyway. And sometimes that, hey, you do great. Other times like, well, this was a waste of my time and energy.
Alright. Just a lot of the small keys at the moment for Ben, but this is kind of I feel like this is the best way around when you have the hammer to do this dungeon. See if he uses the can of Samaro. Is he going to do the bonk here? Nope, no bonk. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, Crrool did, however, pick up the big key in the basement section.
Yeah. Yeah, Crrool has not done the early chest here, not past the mimics, not where Ben is now with the big key and whatnot. He has not done these chests yet, he just went straight up towards the end. Which I think is okay. Like, I believe he's probably gonna have to do the mimic stuff. Oh, just 20 rupees there. That was Gold Sword yesterday in that chest, so that shows the difference of when they picked it up. Crrool never actually did. Hey, there's your banana hat. Too bad it can't be played now. Bit too late in.
That's a little disappointing, I'm not gonna lie.
Right. So because of the way the keys are distributed here, Crrool is gonna have to go down towards the mimics here to get the 2 keys which are on that side.
I also love how Chad is still over here dreaming up how this seed can be super trolly still. What they want is Bombos entrance to Turtle Rock with flute on Trinex.
Ouch.
And oh yeah, Bombos at Cold Stare.
Okay. That, I mean, I guess that could be arranged. Yeah, with Misery Maya being the other crystal in the 5-6 couple, there isn't really any scope for the Pyramid Fairy to end up there, or as Will had called her earlier, and I should probably refer to as that now, Big Bertha. It's just, I don't know, I just started thinking that is fun.
I called her the Portly Pixie at one point, but my favorite name is still Double Chested Fairy.
Yeah, shout outs to Sakura. I understand that entirely, but it just, I don't know, when he said that, I was just like, right, I have to go with that now. It's just...
See, I also like the way that Crrool's doing this room here. Already having the crystal switch hit, so he doesn't have to fire the arrow to lower the switch there. I like that.
It's a really tiny aside, but I kind of wish he picked up some arrows there, just in case he ends up running out later on. Because at this point, if you don't find silvers, you've got to be thinking, Ganon's Tower, I might need to do Armos, and then I need at least 4 arrows before I can get any for red mimics. So you're looking at just barely having enough for that, as it's, like right now he doesn't actually have enough. And RNG can be really terrible when it comes to giving you the stuff that way. You've just got to be a little bit careful about it. And this is one of the few chances that you would have to get a lot of arrows now. Like, there were 10 arrows in the pots when the room Ben is in now. Ben doesn't need to get them because he's got 36 arrows, that's fine. But it gets to the point where you need to start being a little bit careful about how many you've got. You do not want to run out of arrows when you've got everything in GT and you need to do the climb.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout outs to, we were talking about Zelda 1 earlier, the portal path to get to Helmasaur King is the diamond setup, same as most of the diamond staircases in Zelda 1.
Nice. Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to pick up on that when I first played this, because I didn't have the NES. The SNES was the first console I got, so this was my first Zelda game, not the first one that came out. And yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pick up on references like that, but it's really neat seeing the stuff that way. It's definitely not the only Zelda 1 reference that's in this game.
Oh no, another good one though. Have you played the Oracle games?
Yes.
I can remember, I think it's Seasons. The first one you go into is a dead stump, just like level 1. And it's the exact same design as level 1 in the original Zelda. Like, it's the eagle shape.
Yep. I think it has the same boss as well, right?
It does have a version of Aquaman. Yeah.
Pretty sure it has the dragon thing, yeah. So Crrool needed to get a couple of items from this bit here, and then he'll be done with the dungeon. Ben just absolutely wasting Helma's Sword there. Gold Sword, 2 hits, no problem. Even when you've got silver arrows, if you've got Gold Sword, just slash them with a sword. It takes less time than menuing to the silvers and having them lag. So, you know. And there is the blue man. Cool, so nothing going here. But it was still required to finish, so...
So now at this point, Swamp Palace is definitely... Well, no, Ben going up to Death Mountain instead. Interesting. I was going to say Swamp Palace would be where I'd be going.
Yeah, I think maybe Ben's going to do Ether Tablet and Spike Cave. Those are the only 2 things I think are left up here, because we know that he can't clear Turtle Rock.
I'm trying to figure out where Crrool's going right now. Which he's going to check the other chests and, no? Yeah, Ben going to the Ether Tablet.
What are we gonna see?
Oh, he's doing Sick Kid. He's doing... Oh, there's the flute!
Good lord! Okay. That is a horrific place to put it. Because there was no way that you could have had Book before going up there, right? Because Book was in Thieves Town, and the Moon Pearl was on the other side of Death Mountain. So yeah, there was no way that you could have had it on the first trip. And with the way the East Side Death Mountain ended up, there's not a lot of reason to go back up there. Ouch.
Yeah, wow. So Ben is a Meyer check away from potentially being in go mode.
Yeah. And that is exactly what you would do right now. You immediately go to Misery Mire, you check what it is that's there, and if it isn't Bombos, then you are absolutely perfect. You know, position-wise, you are completely ready to go. Man, that's rough.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge thing. And here we go. The moment of truth is upon us. Misery Mire, drumroll, please.
It's Ether.
It's Ether. Go mode activated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have go mode.
This go mode brought to you by the Ether Tablet. Just because we want to put you on ice doesn't mean we're going to.
Alright, well, this could be a really quick dungeon depending on where the big key ends up. If the big key is in one of the first 2 chests, then this dungeon is fantastic because you can just go straight to the end when you don't need to worry about any of the items out of here, of which there are only 2. This is an annoyingly lot. This is probably my least favorite dungeon as far as having to check it goes, because... Well, oh, nice Beator from the bat here. Man. So yeah, this is probably one of the least favorite ones for that, because it just takes so long to check all the things in here, and there are so few things for that. Like, I would prefer Ice Palace to this, because I actually can route Ice Palace so that I could check things more efficiently. Here, it is just... light the torch stuff, you've got to then wait for the other one, and you still might not get all the stuff. Vitra still might have an item, and there it is! Big key in the second. This is a super fast Misery Mire.
And that's going to mean Swamp Palace is even faster, because you can basically go right to Argus and not have to do anything else.
Now, is Ben going to realize this time? because I think we were in a similar sort of situation before. I forget if it was these two or who it was. I'm pretty sure it was these two where they didn't realize that and still hit the switch anyway, had to go back around. Hopefully Ben remembers, because this is, again, something you wouldn't do in vanilla because you need to have that crystal switch hit in vanilla, if I remember rightly. Yeah, because you need to... There's something you need it for, I think, in the vanilla one, right? When you're doing this in NMG?
It's been a long time since I've seen NMG. I have seen so much randomizer. Crrool now making his way back to the Dark World. The problem right now for Crrool is, as we saw, flute on ether tablet. So that up until that point, we were basically neck and neck. Just a small different routing decision can make all the difference. And that's, sometimes the nature of a randomizer. You can play beautifully and just, the bad luck fairy can rear its ugly head.
Yeah, and that's why she's trapped in the pyramid. I mean, what?
Hey, it's. Would you rather have Big Bertha trapped in the pyramid? Oh,
he has a fairy. It's fine,
he has the fairy. We're good.
That's surprising, though.
Yeah, but would you rather have Big Bertha trapped in the pyramid, or would you rather have Navi? Your choice.
I mean, Navi would probably be better being locked in that pyramid, but then again, I don't mind Navi that much, to be honest. She's not quite as terrible as.
Well,
I think. No.
You weren't here for or some of the Great Armos thing. We were talking about the Disney movie and all that, and we decided that Fran Drescher was going to be the voice for Navi.
Oh right, okay.
So we found a way to make Navi more obnoxious.
Alright, that might change things a little bit. Yeah, so Aether Tablet having that again, it's such a low priority place now because there are 2 items up there and they're so far out the way, Even just checking Aether by itself is quite a trek. But Aether and Spike Cave, they're really not locations that you want to be checking most of the time because they're so slow. Unfortunately, so is Catfish, and that's where we're going now, so... On the plus side, we're going to see Go Mode Swamp Palace here, which is really good. We don't need to see Ice Palace, which is nice, but that would also be Go Mode. And don't need to see Turtle Rock. So this is the final dungeon, and it's going to be really quick.
It's the final countdown.
No, we haven't quite got to that yet.
No, but I did tell you guys this is the musical episode today. So. Yep. So when you're looking for the subtitles of episodes, this is going to be Ben versus Crrool Match 2, subtitled Duet.
Nice. Yeah, I guess this is what you would call a Stoops Jet Seed, isn't it? Really. Because it has been pretty quick overall. The nice thing here is that both players have been able to do lots of progression without necessarily having to be in Go Mode. Like, before Go Mode came up here, there were 5 crystals obtained, right? So I feel like that's the mark of a decent seed, where you can still do a lot of stuff, but you're looking for things at the same time. Of course, it's nice when you can just get everything before you 2 crystals or whatever, and then you just rush through everything. But then it's almost less interesting in a way, just because you're in routine at that point, right?
Yep. So we also have both runners here in Swamp, so we are going to see a full clear Swamp from Crrool, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's going to take a lot of time up. I mean, even if he found silver arrows here, it wouldn't make a difference in that sense, because the silvers are 45 seconds to a minute or so in terms of time save. Obviously, maybe more if you don't get Torch Glitch, but they're not a significant enough difference. So even if they are in here, which it's not guaranteed they are, then... Oh, well, the Master... Was it Master Sword or... Did we... No, we only got Gold Sword, so who knows what sword that was.
Right. Not a gold one.
Yeah. Don't let it fool you, it's a fake sword. It's just one of those ones that's in the last words. It's just a fake.
Yeah, it's the melted butter sword.
The Hollandaise sword.
Now I want eggs Benedict. Damn you, Cal! Now I'm hungry. And I had a pizza buffet for lunch.
Objective complete. Yeah, okay, Margarine Sword is quite a good one too. We could go with that. Oh, there we go.
I'm okay with this. Good job, Professor. I approve.
Alright, no problems with the Gold Sword for Ben here. The spins and the slashes from the Gold Sword do the same amount of damage, but it's just so easy to use the spins for everything. You know, there's no issue with that whatsoever. Like, if you've got Tempered Sword, that's generally enough to do most of the same things, but just spins with the Gold Sword is easier to hit with. Spin attack has got a ridiculous amount of active frames.
Yeah, do you remember earlier at like the 32-minute mark, you were talking about how they made a lot of progress, but nothing was done? It's now the hour 15 mark, and we are on our way to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone, go ahead and get your guesses in. There are 22 possible options here for where the big key can be in Ganon's Tower. Which number option is it going to be? I always go with number 16, which is the second chest after the Armos item, assuming after the Armos Knights, assuming you go left side first, but I always go number 16. I'm going to stay with it here. Cal, what are you going with?
You know what? Let's continue the Stoops Jet here. Let's go for the third item.
All right, so you want it to be the Bob Bonk Tower.
Pretty much, because the standard thing is to check the two on the right and then go the other way around. So yeah, let's go with that.
Fair enough. We'll be counting along, and I know chat's going to be counting along with us here. So somebody's bound to be right, and the prize you get for winning is bragging rights.
So it's really interesting in the end that with the Ice Rod being a lumberjack, that it still wasn't required. That's really fun. I mean, it was good to know that it was there so early, because the Ice Rod is the single trolliest item in the game when it comes to where it can be. So it's nice just seeing it that early, but it's also funny in the end it wasn't needed. And very nice that neither player actually took up that risk, you know?
Yeah, and the weirdest part about the Ice Rod is literally, as you said, the single trolliest setting, because there is literally one location in the entire game it cannot be, and that is underneath Trinex.
Very nice fight for Crrool there as well. Had a little bit of a slower time getting the puffs killed, but not significantly so. But still really good. Alright, what do we got? Full heart? Not bad. Oh, I was one off. Okay. But
wow, Jet Seed enabled.
The theming is still there. It is still Stoops Jet, and that is the main thing. Alright.
And we're going down the left side here because we need a key.
Yep, we do not need that shield, however, so Bob will live even though we don't get to see Bob. Yeah, you need a minimum of one small key going up the tower, because if you don't, then you run the risk that only the mini Helmasaur, there's no small key on one of the chests, only the mini Helmasaur would have one, and if that's the case, there are two locked doors at the top of the tower. You could easily shut yourself out.
I do love this, Ben's like, I don't care, I got red tunic, I'm just going to walk on the spikes and not take the easy path, we're just going to do this the right way.
Yeah, the only thing is, the red mail doesn't stop hazard damage from doing the one heart, but regardless, the red mail will help out so much more in a lot of the rooms in to come. Like, if he was to get hit during Gauntlet, not really much of a problem. Unless it's from a Beamos, at which point that's trap damage, so you know.
Yeah, see, Beamos is one of the things in this that I always found interesting, because you have this very sort of steampunk style setting. You have bows and arrows, you have swords, you have all of this, very much, old school kind of feel to it. And then you have these towers shooting laser beams at you.
Yeah, suddenly ancient laser grid tower things. You're like, wait, what? How does that fit in?
Yeah, where did that come from?
Oh, very nice. They're This is where your energy execution really shines, because you just see how crazy quick that's a room I need to learn a little bit better, is to get that dash across the top there. Never really considered that myself, but makes a lot of sense. Yep, fire on that. That Stalfos did not stand a chance.
Nope.
Just getting flamed
Nope.
and impaled by an arrow at the same time. Wow. That was... See, this is what I mean about the fire rod not necessarily being able to kill these guys. That first one just went straight into the ground there, and that too. If that happens when you're trying to do fire rod like one cycle, not gonna get it. You only get that one cycle then if you have silver arrows. Yeah, that basically was a fire arrow in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Crrool now coming to the cruel realization that food's not in Swamp Palace.
That's harsh.
What, he has a very punnable name.
He does! This is true. Yeah, mine tends to go that way as well. There's one person in my chat that always makes puns out of my name. It's just, you know, entertaining.
You need to get them. Well, what you need to do is get them properly calibrated.
There you go, see? That's exactly it. Alright, so Crrool is checking the Ice Rod Cave rather than Ice Palace, thankfully. Interestingly, with the flippers, you could actually just swim on that left-hand side there. Now, when you enter this screen, and you can, yeah, where the stuff is there, you'd actually be slightly quicker, I think. Maybe not with the boots, I don't know, but... Oh, checking the chest here as well, just for the swap points. Ben definitely is feeling comfortable with this run, and I don't blame him, because this was just a really solid seed for him.
Yeah, this very solid indeed over. Getting his revenge. Moldorm 1 knocking him off. Moldorm 2 not so much. Crrool, however, is making the correct decision now to head up to Death Mountain. We are going to see some ether tablet, and hey, we got some compass, so now we know where we're going.
Map and compass in the last two. I have actually been called Game of Power before as well, I think. So, you know. That was a new one though. Usually people just mistake my my name. Instead of an L at the end, they think it's a T, so I usually get called Game of Cat. But
triple, yeah. By the way, there for Ben. Easy triple.
Very, very nice. Oh no, one of them didn't count because it hit at the same time.
Same time, okay.
Oh, come on, this is a PG Steam. The funny thing is, though, like, Game of Cat is actually a thing. Like, if you look up gameofcat.com, it is a comic strip thing. It is actually a real site. So, somebody actually does have a character for that, and they do a webcomic for it. So, it's kind of fun.
Ben's gonna have to be very careful here in this fight.
Yeah, I don't think he has a potion. Yeah, he didn't have powder, so he could actually... I forget which crazy roundabout thing powder was, because I know it was a...
Powder was purple chest.
Right, yeah, so I knew it was a fetch quest of sorts, but yeah, he never did purple chest, so... I like it! Why is it so excitable? He'll be a tamer cow. I like it! Yep, Crrool is now in go mode as well. This is still a really fast time for him too. Like, you know, he's only got a couple more dungeons to go, and well, he's only got one more to go because he did the arrows in tower.
Really,
well,
arrows are in tower. Wow.
This was the Stoops Jet tower, so you know. Yeah, this is Crrool's final dungeon, and it's an hour 23, and we know this is going to be a fast one because of the placement of the big key. So yeah. Definitely not a bad time at all.
Yeah, I forgot that we were doing several scan and everything else was so quick in this scene.
Yeah, although like I said, the silver arrows only save at most like a minute if you've got good execution on the silverless, and you can see Ben's even gotten a couple of triples here, so definitely very, very good execution here. Very nice.
Beautiful silverless kill.
What a quick seed compared to the crazy troll. I mean, even yesterday's one ended up being quick for Ben, but what a great seed compared to the trolls of yesterday.
Sub 125.
And that is still one of the fastest times in the tournament as well. Obviously not the fastest, though. Ben actually holds that from what I've been told yesterday. I think it's like a 119 is the fastest in the tournament, and that was one of Ben's runs. And yeah, this is still very, very fast. Absolutely. This is what you would love to see in the finals coming up, right?
Yeah, but chat points it out, but can we just point out how amazing that Ganon fight actually was?
Oh, yeah!
That was 2.5 hearts, 0 damage, silverless.
Yeah, that was super, super good. And without having the cape to fall back on either. Because he deliberately passed it up.
Yep.
So, Ben's official SRL time of 1 hour, 24 minutes and 25 seconds. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and even Crrool at this point, Crrool is in Goma, is going to refill the cape. We're doing some cape strats on Vitreous here. I mean, Crrool's going to be finishing up with, within the next 10 to 15 minutes. That's still a great time!
Yeah.
That's the one thing we have to remember here is, yes, we are racing one-on-one, so yes, someone's going to have to lose, someone's going to have to win. But let's keep in fact of, these are both going to be really good times!
If you put this in the weekly, then this would be like top 10% for both players, definitely. Well, most likely. For this seed, with how many people are super great that come into it as well. Oh, cool, don't do this again! He did this last time as well! Yeah, so... yeah, that's the thing, it's muscle memory. You always hit that switch. But yeah, if you put this in the weekly, this would definitely be, really high tier. This would not be a...
Okay, that's an interesting combo. Witch and Tickle Boy.
Yeah, because the hook shot was there.
Yeah,
and
but...
the hook shot is called the Tickle Beam in these things.
It just sounds a whole lot worse than it actually is.
Well, I don't think we really want to go there, but the sick kid did have enough money to buy stuff from them. That is where we will leave it. And now your childhood is ruined forever. The end.
And now for something completely different.
And of course, boy feels love again in the same thing as well. There is something going on here.
Can you feel the love tonight?
How many more are we gonna get in before the end of this year?
Beneath the evening. I can go all day with Disney songs, so don't you worry about that.
Just gonna let Ben know that he can hop into the waiting room when he's ready. VOD muted for too many songs here. Did he give a cross-border TriCast when? That's an interesting one.
I don't know if chat can handle the level of horrible punnage that would be occurring in that, but it's gonna be awesome.
That would be pretty hilarious.
Banana!
Oh, man.
Yes, we do have Crrool making his way up Death Mountain. He'll be entering Ganon's tower momentarily.
Yeah, and sub 130 for clearing all the other dungeons, though. That's still something to be very happy about. Yo, hello there.
Hey.
Excellent run there. Massive
Thank
GG's
you.
on that.
Thank you.
How
Way
about
better
that
than
compared to
yesterday.
yesterday?
Yeah. It was so much better. Like no pendant dungeon, except arrow for the bow.
Yeah, that's true. And then the hook shot was within that too.
Was mushroom
because,
block, yeah.
Yeah, Shahabadu had the mushroom that you needed
Yeah.
for the hook shot. But that was really interesting. And honestly, I still think like even if it is a pendant, Tower of Hera is worth doing fairly
it's
early.
really good to do.
Yeah.
We
So
had not that much choices also.
no. So it made a lot of sense both ways around.
Yeah.
How about that ice rod though? Like positioning there, what was the initial thought? It's like, oh god, I'm gonna have to do Aga for this, right?
I was just thinking, well, okay, maybe I won't need Aga, so it's not too bad. And when I saw the right pendant, it was pretty good, but still, it was still possible to go for it. But yeah, after it was good. Took a really long time to be like, okay, I don't need Aga for sure.
Also interesting, I know you'd already checked the ledge for the cape cave, so when you saw that cape and just turned around, it's confused the tracker slightly at the time because we were just assuming you were going to pick it up, and then of course nothing. 127 total items. That is really.
Yeah, and then I was like, when I came back for the tablet, I was like, oh, maybe that cape would have been useful for Spy Cave. But I had a fairy, and so I think that was fine.
Yeah, I was making mention to this at the time. The minimum hearts that you would need for Spike Cave with a fairy is 7, because I've done it with that myself, and there was 1 heart away, so it's very possible if you get that fairy that no matter what you get otherwise, you can still do Spike Cave easily. So, just trying to think what else is super... Like, there wasn't really any trolls as such in this seed, it was just a lot of fast stuff. Like, it didn't look like it at the start when you were half an hour in and you had 1 pendant, 1 crystal, but then pretty much everything happened in a reasonable chain and it was good.
Yeah, there was a really hype cave on that mountain.
Oh, yes.
It was a really good seed.
Nice. Lucky 7 bonks, pretty good.
And that's up to...
Yeah, well, I'm just trying. What else? I mean, what did you find most enjoyable about this one then?
I don't really know. I didn't enjoy looking for the flute.
No.
For sure. Because I was about to go in swamp after that, and it would have been pretty bad. And thinking, oh, maybe it's an ice palace, maybe. Yeah. It was starting to be pretty bad, but hopefully it was falling from the sky. It was amazing.
Unfortunately, Crrool did do swamp before going up, so you two were doing a lot of the same dungeons at the same time when it came to checking for that. So it was pretty close up until that one point, and then you got the flute, and you were both doing swamp at the same time, but in completely different ways. And it's unfortunate the way that ends up, but. I think what I liked the most about this one is that even though you were looking for stuff for a fair while, you were still able to get crystals. So by the time you did get to go mode, you only had a couple of dungeons left.
Yeah, I think I had only my own swamp to do.
Yes, and Maya was super fast as well. That was really good. Yeah, Chad's going on with the 202 item menu. That is absolutely ridiculous. The best item menu I've ever had on my PB run was 211, so... Yeah, that is insanely fast. Yeah, my PB is like a 110 though, so it's, this is far more impressive. You're playing for longer and you had a lower time,
my PB wasn't even the fastest menu time. I think I got step 2 with like a 110 or something, but my PB had actually a pretty bad menu time. Well, pretty bad-ish.
Yeah, it's always interesting because it just depends on what items you get when as to what sort of menu time you get. Like the last run I did, one you hosted just now, had a relatively bad menu time, like 3:48 or so, but it was about 8 minutes faster than yesterday's run, which had a menu time of sub 3. So it really just depends on what items you have at the time and what you're needing to switch between. But yeah, just a really good seed. So who is it you're playing in top 8?
I'm playing against New Life.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yes, I think so.
New Life is a very, very good player. Also, I'm just noticing here, sorry, another aside, but we're seeing 1 free rupees on Crrool's. He's got the elite rupee count here.
That is awesome.
Nice.
I saw you had 888 at one point, so we had to just make absolutely sure we were not sponsored by a betting company here, because but yeah, it's always funny just seeing that when you've got 13 bombs, 37 arrows. There's a lot of fun stuff with that. So yeah, total banana time. Oh man. How about that map and compass as the last 2 items in GT as well? That was just so typical. Yeah.
Worst thing ever.
It's possible that silvers are up there too, and then you get told that, did you find silvers in my tower? And I'm like, really?
I mean, pretty fast big key, so it was tough to get it.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be the 3rd item, because I was thinking, well, this has been basically a stitch chest seed already, let's just make it faster. But you got it 1 item before even I guessed it, so Say. Alright, yeah, just, man, continuing to be super solid about this whole tournament. You've shown basically every race you've been in, just seeing ridiculously good times coming out for the seed that's there. Just, yeah, how do you think your chances are for the rest of this then?
I don't know. Rondo is, well, pretty random, so it can go either way, really. I mean, Crrool could have been way ahead if, I guess, he checked way earlier for Ita.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, we got the book kinda late. I think it was in Tombstone.
Yes, it was.
Probably around 15 minutes, 1 hour. Not sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of trips back up to Death Mountain this one because of that.
Yeah. And the first reflex was like, oh, the book, let's go to desert.
Yep.
Didn't even really think about tablets somehow.
Yeah, so Crrool actually got the magic powder from the purple chest, because the way that he went round the stuff, he was able to do the purple chest going into Bomber's tablet, then go to desert. So yeah, magic powder being at that place is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But
that was one of the things I didn't do, because I did reverse Overworld, and I was hoping for the flute actually to like go right away to 7 and do the chest, but yeah, I mean, in the end, that was the flute I was looking for, so it would have been really bad if it wasn't there, because I would have not looked for that until probably after Swamp.
Yeah, I had that as my 2nd race actually against Bent Glass Tube. That was where the flute was in purple chest. So it's just one of those moments where you just go, yeah, right, okay. And then I think I was in the same situation then when I was just checking what Misery Maya was. Okay, Misery Maya's a medallion I've got. Go mode, let's do it. Not quite as quick, obviously, in time-wise, but that's just seed dependent in a way, It's fun stuff, but yeah, it's if it was there, that would have been a place for it, and that would have changed things quite a bit. But this is the game we play. There's no guarantee of where it's gonna be.
Races where everything's pretty open, pretty fast is kind of scary, because you can I mean, we can have done like Pod, Swamp, Thiefstone really early, and yeah, like. Swamp would have been the worst choice probably in the end, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I've been sort of thinking about it after Christos' last race and his interview stuff there. I've been mentioning a lot of check what is quick to do, not necessarily what has the most items. Like Swamp has the most items, and you have the stuff to do it fairly early, but it's a really slow place to check, so it's not necessarily the best choice to do. And that definitely seems to be that philosophy is helping out a lot in the current plays, seeing that in a lot of races where checking the quick stuff has been more fruitful. Crrool having a little bit of trouble getting the hits in Silverless Ganon here.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's one of those that with practice you can get it most of the time. You had a fantastic Ganon fight, by the way. We were thinking, we weren't thinking you were necessarily, we were thinking you got to be careful, but going into the spins of how many triples did you get during that? There was at least 2 or 3, right? Oh, no, cool. He's got a fairy. He didn't lose that yet.
Oh, nice. Well, the thing is, the first and second phase are pretty safe. And I for once played safe on the second phase because I had only 2 hearts left.
Yeah.
And the last phase is kinda okay. Just really need to be way careful about the fire bats.
Yep.
And it's usually fine. But yeah, NMG does help a lot for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I still, when I have Tempered Sword, I still prefer the cape for the second phase because I find sometimes it's really hard to get a good position for the where the fire bat ring is because I haven't yet tried to do the Pegasus boot type stuff. So it's sometimes if he's in the wrong corner or whatever, it can be really hard to actually hit him enough times with just a Tempered Sword. So I still end up using the cape more often than I probably should. But it's, if you just play safe, it's not too bad getting the stuff there. But Gold Sword definitely helps out a lot, though, having the number of hits you need.
It does. Only 6 hits is pretty easy.
This quarter magic is definitely helping out as far as keeping the number of torture here.
Yeah.
How was that? Find that? I forget where that was even. That was fairly early, wasn't it?
It was in Kakariko, I think.
Yeah. That must have been really good to see. I actually didn't see that it was quarter at the time.
1/4 magic pretty early. I was like, okay, easy scene.
Yeah, I was talking at the time, like, let's, get some opinion on this then. Is it more beneficial for someone of like your caliber doing NMG stuff, or would it be more beneficial for the lesser experienced player to get something like Butter early?
I don't think it's really beneficial for me because I know the strats with the bad swords, so I can do them. And with the Butter, you can just hit everything and everything will die, and that you don't really need a strat with Butter, so you dash into everything.
Okay.
So
Well,
I feel early Butter is not something I like to see.
Right, okay. See, I thought it would be the opposite way around, but what do I know? So, Crrool finishing here
Can
with...
I say I told you so on that one?
Yeah, you can. 1 hour, 41 minutes and 41 seconds. Official SRL time for Crrool here. GG. Let's pull him in here as well, sure. Go for it. Hello there!
Hey.
That was still a fantastic run. Like, GG to you there as well. Really, really cool run.
Yeah, that was a fun one to do again.
Far cry from yesterday's seed, right?
Come again?
Far cry from yesterday's seed.
Definitely, but very good seed in general. I mean, the Shahashra required as well.
Yeah, there was just the right amount of troll at the beginning there.
Yeah. It was just that little bit where I figured, okay, Shahashra required. That could be interesting. As well as that Ice Rod in ajneb. I considered going for it for a little bit, but just decided against it. Which,
thankfully. It's one of those things, I think with the Ice Rod being there in particular, it's one of those things that you would need to see, right, is Turtle Rod definitely going to be needed? And you wouldn't want to get the Ice Rod until you are basically out of options, right?
Yes, correct. And that's what I was thinking as well. So I figured, okay, you know what? I'll go for Mountain. Because, Mountain worked out for me quite well yesterday. I figured, why not try it today? I wasn't wrong.
It's a shame you did. Well, so we were sort of thinking the back and forth here. It's a shame you didn't do the Tower of Terror straight away because you were able to clear it. But then there was one item in the basement which you couldn't get until you got the lamp. And you went back up anyway. So it worked out okay, but
yeah,
what was
I
your
didn't have
thought
a
there?
light source, so I figured, okay, I could go in there, but I'm already going to say no to one of the items then. I'm not sure if I want to go for that. So I'll just keep looking a little bit more, because I have plenty of options left.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I figured, okay, once I have a light source and I've got a decent chance, I'll probably go for Hera. I mean, 2 items in there. There's the green pendant. It's got a fair bit to it.
Yep. So, I mean, I guess the final troll really was the ether tablet having the flute. That was a bit painful because you'd already had to make 2 or 3 trips up the mountain. And then, yeah, low priority place because you've only got that in Spike Cave.
Yeah.
Kind of a rough place to put it.
It was a bit of a rough place, and I did lose a lot of time on that as well because of full clearing pod and swamp because of it. But it's what's gonna happen. It's a fun place for it to be. I think it was a fine touch to the randomizer. Luckily, I didn't go for one of the other pendant dungeons because I considered going for ice for a little bit.
Yeah, we were thinking that because you went to the Ice Rod Cave and you'd went over that direction and we were thinking, oh no, please don't go there.
Yeah, I considered it, but I'm glad I decided against that.
Yeah.
Or it would have been a lot more painful, but...
Yeah.
All in all, it's a fun seat to finish my randomizer tournament career on, I suppose.
Yeah, and you've done fantastically through this. So I'm assuming I would say what's next for you, but I'm assuming the Pokemon Red tournament's going to take
the
up a lot
Pokemon Red
of,
tournament. Yeah, I mean I've got my first match. I've got my first match on Sunday, so
fantastic. Best of luck for that.
That's definitely going to be my next priority. And then after that, we'll see. It's plenty of options left. I mean, the Mystic Quest tournament is coming up. I'm planning to join that as well.
Nice.
So plenty in terms of tournaments, and then all the regular runs that I still want to learn or planning to learn or want to improve. So all in all, I'll get plenty more chances to show what I've got, I suppose.
Yeah. If you guys have enjoyed the playthroughs here, then definitely keep an eye on the other tournaments that SRL is hosting, because Crrool is going to be in a lot of them. So keep an eye out. There was a lot of times when you two were doing the same dungeons, which was pretty cool. I always like it when you see a little bit of sync up on stuff that way. But I'm just trying to think, other than the flute, I don't think there was that big of a turning point, but I don't know, was there any other really interesting item stuff that you enjoyed out of this one?
There wasn't really, in terms of items, anything that I noted particularly. The one thing that really did catch my eye, and I'd never had that happen before, was when I fell through the background or something. I don't know what was happening there, but...
Oh, when was that? Because I didn't see that.
I went towards Cape Cave to check what was on the ledge there, and then I bumped into some rock that was hidden under a bush, and then all of a sudden my game started glitching out.
Oh.
That was a little weird, but I guess that's what it's gonna be. Where was the? Has anybody noted where the silvers were? I mashed through the text and wasn't paying attention. GT. Okay.
But I think, Ben, did you open all of the chests on the top floor, or was it just the last 2 that you opened?
Just the last 2.
Okay, so they could have been on the top floor, but map and compass were the very last 2 chests in the dungeon. I thought that was quite funny, but
yeah. I mean, I only went for validation chest because you gotta go for validation chest.
Hey, I had silver arrows there yesterday in my one of my
it's happening
races,
really
so...
often, to be honest.
Yeah, so I don't know, like there's obviously the meme around it, but sometimes it's not really that bad checking it. It doesn't exactly take that long, so...
True. It's like a split second that it loses, and You know, I've seen it make a difference in the past, but you know, I just pick it up for the memes because at the end of the day, that would work as well. I mean, if I hadn't gone for that potion at the end, because I'm not very confident with Silverless, so I figured I had to go for the potion. But if I hadn't gone for the potion, you know, finishing on 1,337 rupees as well.
Yeah, I noted that when you were climbing the tower as well.
That was quite funny. I mean, you gotta love some memes every now and again. Like I said, I had to go for a potion because I really am not confident with Silverless.
Nice 15 bonks, by the way.
Not bad, considering the length of the run that it was and how early the boots were.
Yep. Well, 60 locations pre-boots is not too late in. 246 menu time as well, really solid.
Yeah, all in all, it felt like a pretty good run as well. Like I don't think I made any major mistakes anywhere. Like I know Ben is gonna gain time on me just on sheer execution because he's way more experienced. But I don't feel like I made any major mistakes. So, you know, I can be happy with how the run went.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what's good about the randomizer, though, is that it isn't just down to the execution. If this was the NMG tournament again, then yeah, you could say it is entirely down to the skill level of the players, pretty much. There's a little bit of, like, Crrool, RNG and whatnot, but for the most part, it's down to the execution stuff. But in here, there's a lot of the decision-making that can lead to different items that sometimes end up giving a big edge where you wouldn't, you know, necessarily get it in other game modes. And I think that's what's so interesting about the randomizer.
Yeah, I think that's what makes these matches fun to do in general. Like,
yeah.
Granted, I know that I have a very small chance of winning somebody as good as Ben. But to you know that you don't have an advantage in any way, so you're going to take more risks. You're going to try to work your route around that. It's fun to try that out and to play around with it a little bit.
And hey, win weeklies and other race stuff that way. I've cut everybody except I think Christos and maybe Mike V at this point in one race or another. You get those races where you just get lucky and or you just get the thing and they take ages to find it. So anything can happen in this, and that's what's really fun. That's what's been really fun about the tournament. So yeah, great to have you in, and best of luck in the next tournament you play.
Thank you, Ben. To you, best of luck in the final 8.
Thank you.
And thank you both of the commentators for making the show as good as it is.
Yeah, fair warning if you go back and watch this one. There's quite a few puns and musical references in this one, so...
That's alright.
We had fun, that's all we can say.
Yeah, something like that. But speaking of all the other tournaments, Crrool did mention the Pokemon Red tournament, and we do have a Pokemon Red match coming up here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so in roughly 2.5 hours from now, depending on where your time zone is. And then we've got a double header of Link to the Past coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. One of those races is going to be right here on Speed Gaming. The other race is going to be over on Speed Gaming 2. Again, both of those are going to be at 9 p.m. tonight. Again, that is Eastern Time. Your time zone may vary.
Yeah.
So who's
not
playing?
Not to mention, Gunner versus Deacon is going on Speed Gaming 2 right now, and these are two fantastic runners as well. So if nothing else, I guess that would be a great run to switch into.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go for that then.
That sounds good. And if you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you give both of our runners a follow here. They absolutely deserve it for the wonderful play. And also, if you enjoy bananas, there's that too.
Yeah, actually, on that, we were kind of liking the banana pun at the start, and then we sort of transitioned it into a banana pun there as well, just to double it, to have the B there as well. I was thinking there were just enough characters that you could have put that in. It was pretty good. We enjoyed that. So. Nice. All right, I think we are done here. Again, GG to both of you. Excellent race. Thank you very much for giving us the chance to commentate it. Super
Thanks
good.
for the commentaries again. Thank you.
And yeah, thank you guys for watching as well. Until next time, this has been Gamer Cal. And apparently I'm being left hanging off of it.
Oh,
Blame
I missed that.
TGE! Blame TGE! Take care,
Alright.
guys.
Have a good one, guys. Good night.
Yeah.